Hello and welcome to another captaincy video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and joining me is Fantasy Football Scout's Tom Freeman to discuss the best armband candidates for Double Gameweek 26, and also we will consider whether to use the Triple Captaincy chip. Tom, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Joe. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've obviously still got one game to go tonight in game week 25 with a lot of interest in Fernandes and Ronaldo, but we've obviously got one eye as well on this big double game week in 26, which we'll be touching on today.
Indeed. Before we go on, I understand you've got a few words to say about Fan Team before we look at some of the key candidates this week.
Yep. So the Champions League knockout stage game begins tonight, starts this evening. There's some big prizes on offer on that one. There's a little offer on for new users as well, which is a buy one, get one free, essentially. So you get to register two teams for the price of one. Similar format to FPL, although there isn't any substitutions in this one or subs. There's 11 players, £100 million budget. I think there's a safety net in play as well. So there's some more information, I think, in the description on this video and over on the site as well. But if you're into your European football and your Champions League, go and have a look at that.
Rightio. Welcome everyone in the live chat. Just checking that you can still see us. I've got a little note on my YouTube studio that says no data, but there's a green light as well. So I'm hoping that you can still see us there. So welcome to Francis and Nick, Ali, Dom, Laggy, John. I hope I've pronounced your name right there. Sorry, Laggy. John, Cheyenne, and Philip, amongst others. Thanks so much for joining us. Slightly unusual time. We've just got to fit this in with the schedule and our own schedules here. So instead of lunchtime on Tuesday, it's at 10 a.m. But nevertheless, hopefully nothing will change. There'll be no injury news in the next 2 or 3 hours. Be very unlikely and unfortunate there. So let's have a look at the main candidates. I mean, it's got to be Salah really, but we'll have a look at the fixtures. It's Salah, but there's issues to consider there. So looking at the fixtures there, we can see that it's a double game week here. So we've got Arsenal, Wolves, Liverpool, Leeds, Palace, Watford, Burnley, Spurs. These are all teams that are playing twice. And amongst those, it's really Liverpool, Arsenal, and I would say to a lesser extent Wolves, but definitely Liverpool and Arsenal have the better fixtures. And to help out here, luckily, on Fantasy Football Scout, you can sort by difficulty when you look at the season ticker. So I press that button and hey presto, it's turned all those lovely fixtures from alphabetical to best fixtures for game week 26. Liverpool playing Norwich and Leeds at home. It doesn't get better than that. Arsenal play Brentford and Wolves at home. That's a good run as well. Then you've got Watford against Villa and Crystal Palace. That depends on your optimism that they can actually score. Then Burnley, Brighton against and Tottenham. I wouldn't say that's the greatest.
No.
But then a bit further down, you've got Wolves against Leicester. Leicester's defence is pretty poor. We'll come to that in a bit. And then they've also got Arsenal and Wolves did just beat Spurs. So you never know there. And then to a lesser extent, you've got the likes of Leeds as well and Crystal Palace. But also, it's worth noting there are some good single game week matchups as well. West Ham against Newcastle, for example, with Jared Bowen, who literally can't stop scoring. And Manchester United play Leeds and Chelsea have Crystal Palace amongst that. Crystal Palace's double there. So, let's go to Liverpool first. It just screams captaining Mo Salah this week with those fixtures. It also screams playing the triple captaincy chip if you've got him, because he will be heavily owned, you would imagine. Yeah. So, yeah, 2 questions there. Is Salah the best captain? Is triple captaining Salah the best strategy?
Well, he's the best FPL option, isn't he? He has been for quite a while now. 16 goals, 10 assists this season. I think he's averaging just over 8 points per match. And he's playing against 2 of the worst defences in the division. So everything points towards Salah, the triple captain as well. I would go along with that. His effective ownership is probably going to be what, 240%, something kind of crazy.
I mean, I got him in a couple of weeks ago. I got him in really early, like an idiot.
Okay.
And he's got me a grand total of 4 points from that.
So you got it. So you got him in prior to Leicester, did you? Or the Leicester game, or
yeah, I
the
got
Burnley
him.
one?
Yeah, I got him in for
Okay.
that. And he was a differential, rare sight.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
include effective ownership. It was below 40%.
Yeah.
Now he's gone up 0.3. So you would
Yeah.
imagine in the top 10k, top 100k, he will be nearing 8, but he could be below 200. You could still, even if you captain him, you could still get something out of him, but
I just think with everybody holding Fernandes and Ronaldo, that is going to be an obvious switch, isn't it? I mean, yeah, you're losing those United assets before a good fixture at Leeds, which we'll talk about later on, but that's going to be the move. It'll be interesting, but the only concern with Salah in all of this is minutes, because he had a pretty intense AFCON. He played 120 minutes 4 times during the knockout phases and the final. He's come back. He's played just over 30 against Leicester, and then he's played the full 90 against Burnley. Now he's about to embark on this 4-game run, which involves Inter in the Champions League tomorrow. He then comes back and he takes on Norwich on Saturday. It's then Leeds on Wednesday. And then you've got the small matter of an EFL Cup final against Chelsea at the weekend. And so there is that kind of thought, could he be benched in either that Norwich or that Leeds game? I don't think it will happen, but I think we've got to be prepared. It wouldn't be a huge surprise if he had his minutes managed and maybe not benched, maybe coming off a bit early. My kind of thinking is, though, if Salah gets 120 minutes, kind of worst-ish case scenario, I suppose, across those 2 games, that is still enough for Salah to do some serious damage, isn't it?
Yeah.
We saw in that Leicester game, came on for 30 minutes.
You try captaining him for that game.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, he could have hauled in that, and that's against a poor defence, Leicester. But that's what he's up against this time as well. So my kind of thinking is it is worth it. It's very difficult to predict Klopp. Some people suggested, will he start the EFL Cup final because he hasn't featured as much in the run up to that? I think he will. I think you play your best team in those games, but it's hard to get into Klopp's mind with this, and I think even if he had a full 90 and then a 30-minute run out in the other game, I think that's probably enough for him.
I mean, when I got him in for that Leicester game and captained him, my rationale is there were 3 scenarios. One, he starts. If Salah starts, he's every chance of doing well. It's very, very rare he blanks. If he comes on for the last 30 minutes, he could have come away with 2 goals and an assist against Leicester in 30 minutes. Sure. We've seen him do that against Palace before. So that's the second scenario. And the third scenario is he doesn't turn up at all, in which case you've got at least one match of him. Or if he gets injured before that, you've got a vice-captain for a triple captaincy. So I would say the vice-captain, maybe Alexander-Arnold or Jota, could be could be your best bets, because if Salah's not going to show up, you would imagine Jota would do well. But the stats we got up on the screen are Liverpool players last 4 matches, expected goal involvement. Salah is top the last 4 matches he's played, expected to have been involved in more than 3 goals. That's the next best is actually Fabinho, who's got a bit of a scoring run at the moment with 3 goals.
He is.
In his last 4.
I think he's. I think it's a couple more than that when you're taking all competitions as well. But then you're looking at shots in the box. I think he's had 10 inside the box all season in the league. So that kind of tells you.
Yeah, Salah 13 shots inside the box. Fabinho 5. So that's not sustainable. Then Jota doing well, shots inside the box 10, expected to have been involved in more than 2 goals, and he indeed was. And Mane as well, AFCON champion, scored a goal, expected to be involved in more actually. And Alexander-Arnold very heavily involved, as you would imagine, with 9 chances created. But chances are you own Salah, Alexander-Arnold and Jota or Robertson. So we're looking at vice-captaining one of them, I would imagine. Would that be... correct? And then
Yeah,
Captain Salah.
yeah. I mean, these fixtures, when you look at them, they feel like fixtures for the attackers for me a little bit more, and that's why I'm kind of siding towards Salah than Trent. You know, Norwich have improved under Dean Smith, but you saw at the weekend when they face good attacks, they'll concede goals. Leeds under Bielsa, his approach, it's non-negotiable. They will concede chances. So this does feel like a game where you probably want one of those attackers for it. The only reason to deviate to Trent is if you genuinely think Salah will maybe miss one of those games completely. And then if you think Salah's playing for 90 and Trent's going to get 180 across the two games, then it suddenly becomes a bit closer in those points projections, I think. I don't think he misses one of those games completely, so that's why I'm siding with Salah. But yeah, Trent, I mean, I think Salah, we said earlier, just over 8 points per match. Trent's just over 7. So it's there's not a huge gulf there. 2 clean sheets wouldn't be a huge surprise, but they did give up chances against Burnley at the weekend, especially in that first half. I don't think they're maybe quite as solid as they have been at previous points this season, maybe. They just looked a little bit more vulnerable. But with Trent, you get that chance creation, those assist numbers, solid for bonus. So he's got a lot going for him.
I mean, I think with the captaincy decision, this is a major captaincy decision because you're using a triple captaincy more than likely for this one. And the way I look at that is if I go into this triple captaining Salah, whatever happens, I know I've made the right move. I know I've looked at the stats, I've looked at the player, I've looked at the opposition, I've done my due diligence on this, and I can come away with that. If he gets injured in the first 10 minutes, that's the way, as happened when I triple captained Mane 2 or 3 seasons ago.
And I think it happened for me last year with Kane with the triple captain. He actually got a goal and assist, I think, in the first game, and then got injured and didn't even play the second. It's the way it goes. We can't control that.
But you can hang your head up high and say, I have done the sensible thing here. Nevertheless, if you want to be different, and this is what we're here for, if you want to be different and consider some of those other Liverpool players we've mentioned, Alexander-Arnold, Jota, Robertson, these are all good options for captaincy, for triple captaincy. Let's have a look at the latest whipping boys, the latest looking at expected goals conceded, last 4 matches, to see the state of play really. And this shows that Leicester continue to be the ones to go for. Then Leeds, which bodes well for Salah. Then Southampton. But Southampton look good. So their expected goals conceded. Sometimes with this, when you see expected goals conceded, it can be slightly misleading because they're just good at stopping goals, maybe. But Southampton
especially over a 4-game sample as well. You know, everything needs to be delved into, doesn't it, and looked at. But I like this. This is a good gauge of kind of just how they've been playing over the last 4 matches. Quick little snapshot, and then we look into it further.
Then Norwich as well. So I mean, this includes the Man City result there. So whilst they do look good, as you said, if Norwich were playing, I don't know, Villa or Everton or whatever, I would say, okay, well, Dean Smith could pull off a result here. But if he's playing Man City, Liverpool, then
the
Chelsea,
teams,
then I'm looking at that and thinking, no, I think they're going to be a bit overrun here. And the stats do show that. They've conceded 6 goals. Expected goals conceded 7.4. So they're overperforming. And then you look down at the defences there. City, Chelsea, Brighton. They're sort of moving towards the bottom of this table. That's a good thing. And then Arsenal, Liverpool themselves. So that underlines Alexander-Arnold's prospects as a captaincy shout. But I found looking at Leicester at the top there. So I'm looking back at the fixtures. Who do Leicester face? And Leicester face Wolves. So Leicester don't have a double game, but Wolves do. And so that suddenly makes me think: is there an alternative captain? But maybe if you don't, not necessarily not triple captain, But is there an alternative, perhaps in Jimenez? Is there an alternative in perhaps Sarr, the goalkeeper? I mean, they are getting points, which is what it's all about, really. So, what do you think? I mean, is that too maverick?
I like Jimenez. I mean, we put him in the differentials last week with an eye on this double game week. For people who are thinking about transfers as well, Jimenez also plays in game week 30. So if you're looking to navigate that without a free hit, it's another consideration. You get a double, you get a game then. So there's lots going for him. He's going to get 90 minutes. He's on penalties. There's loads of things to like about Jimenez. We spoke about Leicester's defence, but also they can't defend set pieces at the moment. They're struggling with crosses into the box. So players like Jimenez and Saiss, and they're going to be a threat at the weekend. For me, owning feels like enough. He's already a differential, Jimenez. I'm not going to slap the triple captaincy on him. But I think Wolves, they look very good at the moment, especially defensively, which is linking into Arsenal, which we're going to talk about, is why I'm a little bit hesitant to consider them for the captaincy, considering that second game is against Wolves.
Yeah. What I've got here, I've got another table here. This is expected goal involvement last 4, and it's players, but I've just included those with 2 matches. So I've stripped out anyone with a single. So that's why you're not seeing the likes of Bowen or any Man City players in here. And so this shows once again Salah is top there. So another tick for Salah, another tick for triple captaincy Salah. Then you've got the Spurs lads. You've got Kane and Son, and Lacazette is another intriguing differential captaincy option. You've got Fabinho there, and then Jimenez. So Jimenez is just below all of those other names, those premiums we mentioned. So it shows that Jimenez, on current form, is a player to consider if you are maverickly minded.
Sure.
You've also got Jota, Mane, more Liverpool there. Daniel James at Leeds seems to be the one who is scoring at the moment. I captaining Daniel James in this double game week. It's a tough double. That's a bridge too far for me.
Don't do that.
I've included.
Definitely don't do that.
I've included a strange name down here, not for the captaincy, but this is something we might discuss on the Scoutcast. Matt Doherty at Spurs, who's suddenly becoming quite good, and it's annoying because we have to alter our mindset there. That's not for the captaincy though, so I shouldn't really have said that.
No, it's just hard with Spurs with the fullbacks, isn't it? Sorry, the wingbacks, because they're just getting rotated. We saw it at the weekend. Emerson and Reguilon dropped out, but interesting to see him appear.
Right, you mentioned Arsenal, so I've got another table here. So this shows last 4 matches. Arsenal, now they played Brentford and Wolves, so they have to come into the captaincy consideration. In terms of shots inside the box, Lacazette, not only 2 on target, but he's had 9, and that's the most. Then Martinelli, annoyingly, especially for me because I own him, is missing one of the matches. I might still play him.
The fixture you want him for,
but anyway. Oh well. Okay. Then you've got Saka, 6 shots inside the box. Martinelli with 8 shots inside the box, by the way. And then you got the sort of also rans in terms of kind of close range efforts. Smith Rowe, if he gets minutes. Interestingly, Gabriel in defence with 3 shots inside the box.
Bit of a threat from set pieces.
And there's clean sheet promise there, so I think he's. If you're looking for a defender to get a double-digit haul, he could be the one. And Odegaard as well. I've seen him creeping in some teams. Top for chances created amongst Arsenal assets last 4. So it's almost like we've got to forget Salah a minute. Would an Arsenal player, do you think they merit consideration for the captaincy, an Arsenal player?
Well, that first game is really appealing, isn't it? Against a Brentford side who have really struggled on the road for quite a while now. They've shipped a lot of goals. I like Lacazette as an option this week. He should be, would think he would be on penalties as well. Yeah. I think not having Martinelli available for that first one, it makes me think that he'll start both of them. There had been some talk, they obviously lost Aubameyang, but there was some talk of Martinelli maybe being able to play through the middle. I think Arteta experimented it within a training camp or something like that. But just the fact he isn't there, you expect him to start both of these games. Shooting quite a bit, as you can see from that. Saka a bit lower. They will be playing two sides who play back threes now, so maybe there will be a little bit more space on the outside of those centre backs, maybe. So that's not, Saka I think is a good option as well this week. But it's just that Wolves game. It really puts me off them for the captaincy because, I mean, only Man City have conceded fewer goals than Wolves this season in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And if you look at it away from home, Wolves have conceded eight goals away from home this season. Nobody has conceded fewer than them. And that makes me think this is going to be a really tough game. Yeah. Arsenal obviously beat them recently 1-0, but again, really, really tough match for them. Yeah. And I struggle to kind of really elevate them to that captaincy level when I see that being a tough match for them. But for sure, good options to bring in, although just be aware that they do blank the following week in 27.
Definitely, so, yeah. It's wider issues around the captaincy. We'll discuss more on the Scoutcast later, but Arsenal are an annoying team at the moment because they do have a double. It's quite favourable. They could possibly have a double as soon as game week 28, but certainly on the horizon. But then they missed 27, and then they got great fixtures thereafter. Really annoying, really annoying. Because if you've got free hits, that could be the way to navigate Arsenal. I think.
And they do play in 30. They do play in 30.
And they do play in 30.
If you're free hit in 27, obviously good to go.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at the rest of the fixtures there, I mean, I think we pretty much covered things. I mean, people will probably joke, oh God, how have Tom and Joe talked for 22 minutes now about the captaincy when it's obviously going to be Salah.
I mean, we can talk about Kane and Son and people options like that, can't we? I mean, we could go deeper. We could go Zaha. We could go Cornet. But
Cornet.
But whether or not we need to, I'm not sure. I mean, Tottenham. We're talking about two premium assets in Kane and Son. Kane is, the whole team has struggled over the last two, haven't they? Obviously lost a couple of games now against Southampton and Wolves as well at the weekend. But Kane's still shooting a lot. He hasn't had any big chances. Son's got a reasonable record against City, but the problem is that City game, it feels like it's really off-putting, isn't it, when you've got a double which involves a match at Man City, because it feels like then you're pinning all of your hopes on that second game. And the second game is against Burnley, who have tightened up as well recently. Yeah. So I feel, I don't think this is that appealing a double.
No, I think if Spurs are going to win that Burnley game, I think I've captained Spurs players before against Burnley away, and now Burnley are sort of returning to what they normally are in defence, as in they're forcing long range shots. That looks to me like if Spurs are going to win, it's going to be 1-0, and it'll be like a Son goal or a Kane goal, and that'll be it. And at Man City, we've seen
like a tight match.
We've seen the defensive stats. It just doesn't look that good at all. I just want to shout out to Just a Dad posting stuff in the live chat, because by weird coincidence, he was just discussing his moves this week. Based on what we've been talking about and other things, and he was going to be removing Bruno to Son and upgrading Steele to Ramsdale for a -4 this week, which is absolutely identical to the moves that I've had planned for a long time and will probably do as well. So good luck with that move, because I'll probably be doing it too.
I think it makes sense, doesn't it, with the Arsenal blank next week? If you bring in a second goal and you've got another playing goalkeeper, that's an obvious way to. Because obviously we've got Liverpool not playing next week and Chelsea. Yeah. We've all probably got 2 or 3 Liverpool, so you've got to have a little bit of a plan. You've got to kind of start plotting out what you're going to do for the next few weeks,
especially
it's tricky.
Yeah, with if you're free hitting in game week 27, you don't have to worry about it, but you do have to worry about these things. But nevertheless, I think that we have scraped the barrel. There's basically Salah at the top. He's the lid of the barrel, and everyone else is the barrel really this week.
Just on that, we've got a captain poll running on the site at the moment. And last time I checked, which admittedly was last night, but I doubt too much changed. What we're looking at the moment is Salah was on just over 84% of the vote, and Trent was down on 5%. So that gives you an idea in terms of the scout users. It's pretty much nailed on Salah for most people here. But for those Mavericks amongst you who really want to go for something different, then Alexander-Arnold, I think, is your boy for that. So,
I think so. He'll probably be my vice captain, I think. But yeah, it's whatever whoever you decide to captain, if it's not Salah. Good luck to you all who are listening and watching. And Tom, good luck with your decision to, I presume, to captain or triple captain Salah. Is that correct?
Triple captain for me for this one. Yeah, it's feels like it's got to be done. But let's just hope we get enough minutes out of it.
Fingers crossed. I might get a triple captaincy return for the first time since Payet played for West Ham. So
Jesus.
I know. Well, Jesus, I should have captained many a time actually. So he probably would have done me better. Tom, thanks so much for your time. Good luck with your captaincy decision. See you next time.
Brilliant. Thanks, Joe. See you soon.